Today we're going to dive into one of the most visually stunning patches for Cities Skylines 2 so far, what they're calling the Summer Solstice update. It's available on Monday, and as well as the texture overhauls that the patch includes, there's also adjustments to citizen pathfinding to increase overall performance, lots of bug fixing, and a brand new in-game tool I know many of you have been crying out for. We're also going to see how the performance changes absolutely positively affect our 750,000 population cities, so strap in for that one. So if you're looking forward to today's video, then grab a cup of tea, sit back and relax as we dive into a special episode of Biscuit Bay. And just before we do that, here's a word from our sponsor, NordVPN. Hugo's back and he's on a new adventure, diving into the uncharted waters of the Mediterranean Sea to uncover a long-lost shipwreck. Deep below the surface, Hugo discovers a treasure trove of ancient artifacts and clues to a forgotten civilization. But Hugo's work isn't done. He now needs to share these important findings with marine biologists and archaeologists worldwide. And that's where NordVPN comes in. Hugo needs to make sure his online connection is secure and his data is safe from prying eyes, hackers, malware, and of course phishing scams. Nord's new next-gen antivirus program includes fraud protection, threat protection pro, scam call filtering, and much more. Just open NordVPN, click the shield, and enable the features here. Simple. NordVPN is always on my phone, my laptop, and my tablet, and anytime I'm using public Wi-Fi or even what you might call normal home Wi-Fi in a rented holiday property, I absolutely make sure it's active and protecting my internet. Like Hugo, I don't want any prying eyes on my bank details, my social media posts, or my private emails. So make sure to use my link at nordvpn.com/Biffa, which gives you 4 bonus months free on every purchase of a 2-year plan, plus it's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. You don't want to miss out on that offer. So first of all, I want to pick out some of the main highlights of the dev diary. It will be linked below, so if you want to read every single detail, you can do that. But this update, as I mentioned, is out right now. And for gameplay updates, it says they've made some adjustments to the gameplay and citizen behavior, particularly when it comes to pathfinding. So what they're going to do now is make more sensible choices when choosing stores and leisure activities. So one of the things they used to do before was go to any store, whether they had their stuff or not. And if it was a long distance, that's when you'd see lots of people walking huge distances across the map. But it says each change now uses a more sensible range than a shared almost unlimited distance. So limiting pathfinding, that is going to be so much better. And some of those changes, move outs teleport off map, workers drop their job, leisure seekers idle at home before retrying. These changes have so far been made quite carefully, so they might not apply to every single long trip that your citizens take, but they're going to keep working on it and there'll be more in the future. Now, something to keep in mind, as it mentions there, that this change is going to have to be something we think about. Where are we going to put our commercial? Because we might now see a lot of not enough customer warnings when businesses realise that they're not in a good location because of now the limited distance that people will travel to get to them. So we might need to tweak that a little bit, they say, in the future, but worth keeping in mind as you look at your cities. Also, a slight tweak to how often citizens are going to reevaluate looking for new homes. So on larger cities like our million population city that we've been working on, that should boost overall performances. So that is absolutely fantastic. Now we're going to look at some of the visual updates, and I've got lots of examples to show you. So basically it says they've overhauled the entire rendering system by adding triplanar mappings for cliffs and individual smoothness maps for all terrain textures, as well as improving terrain normal calculation. So instead of reading through all of this, I am just going to show you some visual changes from Biscuit Bay. So here we have just a view of the mountains in the distance in Biscuit Bay, but as we start to swipe across here, we now see the new look. And we'll zoom in a bit more and you'll notice that it's not just that there's extra trees on there, you're actually seeing more shadows, more highlights, and more depth to the mountains. So Instead of just being something in the distance that's a brown smudge, look at the difference. The old one on the right, the new one on the left. I just think that looks brilliant, and we'll do a final swipe to get it all to look at the new review so we know exactly what the new textures look like. There we go, and I absolutely love the changes. It's brilliant. And also this is really going to affect the top-down view as well. So we've got the old textures at the top and the new at the bottom, as you can see. And the difference in the contrast and the depth, it actually looks like you're looking at a proper map of the Earth. I mean, what other way can you put it? Because of the shadows, you know, the rivulets that are running through the sides of the mountains just look realistic. That is absolutely brilliant. And you'll notice the change in the grass colours and that as well. We'll come back to that when we look at something else. And then the snow, a biggest change. This is the old snow, just a massive white. And now we're going to do a wipe across here and see the difference. And look at the hills and the mountains, particularly in the distance. You're starting to get these little dark patches pop up, which absolutely highlights what a mountain. I mean, look at it. That is what a mountain should look like. The snow, not on every single surface. It needs to have little undulations and little bits of rock that pop up to really give you that idea of depth and shadow and realism. And I just think they've done an amazing job changing this. And from what we're learning, this is just the start as well. There you go. Look, you can see the old way on the right and the new way on the left. And it's like night and day, the difference, isn't it, between the two? I absolutely love that. Look at that. I mean, that just looks like a real life mountain from a photo, doesn't it? So I'm hoping now they've started to work on the textures. What I want to see next is updated textures on the roads, because I know there's people out there making them and doing sort of, in inverted commas, hacky ways of getting them into the game. I just want to be able to have proper looking road textures, concrete textures, this dirt, this grit, this grain, the shadows, to really make it look realistic. And again, what a change. Look at that. Well, let's take a look at the amazing new tool that's been added to the game as well. So the first things you might notice is I've quite happily loaded into Biscuit Bay. Everything is working. I have all the mods available to me that I had before. The only one I've removed is the extra landscaping tools mod, not because it was causing any problems. You can still use that if you want, but just because it was doubling up on a couple of menu options. But I'm sure maybe even by the time you see this video, that will be updated. Let's come down to the coast here and look at our new tools. So dive into the landscaping menu, pick the first option, terraforming, and over here we have 4 different texture paint tools, and we have a texture erasure tool as well. Let's just click this as it is set up already. It will be default brush size 100, 100%, and we're just going to pop that down there. And I'm going to pick this one and pop that down there. So this one is called Dry, Lush, Dirt. We'll pop that down there, and this one is Sand. So those are the 3 new colours, I'm going to call them, or textures that you can paint down here. And also, as we're zooming in, we'll notice that the textures are very, very different along the front here. In fact, I'm going to put a clip in here to show you what the front of this coast looked like before and after as well. I have to say, it's not until you switch back that you realise what we've been putting up with all this time. What an amazing difference just to a standard bit of end of the grass stuff that goes into the water, nothing much to it, and all the textures, the stones, the shading, the shadows, yeah, look lovely. So there we go, fantastic difference, I'm loving it. So your maps will be updated automatically with the textures for the grass, for the stone, for everything that's built into the map. Any other sort of textures that were painted on, you might wish to go in and adjust those yourself. But as you can see already, everything is updated, the mountains and the difference. We've got the new look grass, which has a lot more detail on it when you zoom in. There's like just little bits of detail, stones, little bits of grass. You can get quite close if we go into photo mode and have a look at those, and we can see what it looks like. I mean, that is definitely high enough quality to add enough interest. So let's get back to our new tools. Where have they gone? Over here. So when you're placing these down, it's good to note that there are levels available for what you do. The previous one will overlap the next one. So for instance, here we have the sand. If I pop this texture painter tool over the top, I said overlap, I meant underlap. This one will underlap that one, and that one will underlap that one. So that is something to keep in mind when you're using these tools, how you're going to paint them. We can also right click with this tool just selected and it'll only remove that one. There we go, there we go, there we go. A bit more of that one left. And of course we can right click and remove the sand. Oh, there's some of that hidden under there. Very good. Or this tool here, right click and it will remove all of them. Well, let's take a look at a couple of the brushes. So we understand the brush size and the brush strength, but also we have the different types of brushes. We've got Mesa brush on here, which we can see how that works. And some of them are going to be a little bit more obvious than others because obviously I'm not using these on a mountain. I quite like the peak brush. Adds a little sort of rough effect. And if you're detailing, this will be good. The river one's quite good as well. There we go. So we get the idea of how that's working if you're trying to add that into a river. There was another one that was quite good. I mean, we've got a rectangle brush if you really want that, or we've got a triangle brush as well, which you might enjoy. But yeah, the tendrils. So if you're sort of trying to add a little bit of detail, and we've got, as you can see, shift and middle mouse button for precise rotation, because right click, of course, erases it. So we've got to have a different way of doing that. And yeah, I really like that. So now, how are we going to be using these things? Well, of course, everyone's going to be rushing off and making beaches. But for instance, let's just take like a gravel road. We could add a little bit of extra detail just to the side even of a gravel road. I mean, I'll just use this one because I've got it in my hand. Maybe sort of go like that. I mean, it's very, very subtle, isn't it? Maybe that's not the one to try. Let's try this one here. There we go. We know that's going to... There we go. That overlaps it a bit more, doesn't it? And the fact that the brush gives us these little edges and it filters in, if that's the word, overlaps nicely. Just stuff like that is going to make the game look so much better. I'm loving it. And then, of course, if we go back to our default brush, if you want to add a beach in somewhere like this, let's just terraform this land a little bit. Now, before, we all know how difficult it was. You had to terraform, grab the right bit, try and get the sand texture to come up. Well, of course, we've got none of that now. So we can just grab our texture tool and we can literally just paint in a beach along here. There we go. We'll just sort of go up to the back and we'll do a little bit more detailing on that in a minute. Let's just go up a little bit further. There we go. And already I just think it looks great. So as it goes down into the water, we've got, look at this, lots of little pebbles. We've got lots of little things in here, really adding a lovely texture. And I just think that looks good. Naturally looking dark, the deeper it goes into the water. Oh, that was an autosave. Have a quick sip of tea. And even as you zoom out a little bit like this, you just get the effect of it being a nice beach. And then, of course, here we can see the transition line from one texture to another. I mean, if you just left it like that, that just looks like windswept sand blown slightly across the beach. But of course, we can adjust that, can't we? So we can drop down that. We can drop down our strength. Let's just go a little bit smaller. And we can sort of add that in. Let's just go a little bit smaller than that. Maybe 25. There we go. Look at that. So we get a really fine brush on how we want to sort of dither the two textures together, which I just think is brilliant. So we can, I mean, that's barely noticeable down to 10%, but you get the idea. And of course you can do that with all the different textures. So people that are more skilled than I am are going to absolutely love using these new textures, which is just great. And of course, if you change your mind and you want to get rid of them all, just be careful because that's going to remove the lot. I'm just sat here enjoying the view of the city now here at Biscuit Bay. I just think that looks absolutely stunning. I can't wait to be playing a proper episode for you and building and doing all sorts of things. But the new textures, I think even, I don't know what it is, the visuals just overall just look so much better. I'm not just talking about the textures on the mountains and things like that, but even on the houses. It just looks crisper and the shadows look so much better. I love it. So anyway, the other change, which would possibly affect commercial buildings, I mean, we've got one pop-up over here saying not enough customers. Now we can see, if we look down the bottom here, that my money is dropping a lot. This city was balanced and making money before this patch. So the little change that we've got is something you're going to have to be careful of in your cities. If we take a look at our commercial overlay, so any of the buildings that are this purpley colour, they're filled with businesses. Any next to them that are black like this are empty. Now, some of that is going to be down to the tax rate that I've got set. It is a little bit high. So what I'm going to try and do is see if we can encourage some more people to move in by dropping this down a couple of percent to 10%, because 10% at the moment seems to be what is making our citizens happy. So let's see if that is cheap enough for all the commercial properties to be filled. Do we have any other spaces? Let's have a look at our industrial properties. Up here we've got a couple of empty industrial properties. I don't have many offices in here, one or two. No, the offices are all okay. We can see if it balances out, but also you can see where some of my commercial is centered. So we have a hub over here which is actually surrounded by residential, so people are going to be happy to walk there. We've got a bit of a hub in the middle here which does have some offices and commercial, and again it's going to be a bit of a walk from the two residential centres either side. These commercial here surrounded by residential, so that should be fine, and the same up there in our new little area leading up to the train station, that should be fine as well. So it may be that we need to redistribute where these are, and also be interested to see, of course, with our transit routes. We do have a stop here by some commercial. We have a stop over here by the school. I'm thinking I might just add another one in down here to see whether that helps with the not enough customers. There we go, 2 new stops near these offices and this commercial up here. And what we can put on up the top here on this mod is how many people are waiting by these stops. So let's just keep that going for a moment, and we'll see whether people start making use of this to reach these commercial shops. Of course, the other thing you can do when you've got no commercial demand but you've got office demand is remove the shop and pop in some offices instead. There we go, problem solved. But that is definitely something you're going to have to keep an eye on in your cities. It's going to be interesting to see whether this overlay here is adjusted as well by the fact that some areas are going to be better for commercial than others. So we have the commercial suitability is actually green everywhere. Now that is a good question. I might just put that to the devs. Okay, here we are in the city that I've been fixing up, that we're trying to get up to 1 million population, and I was very interested to see whether this city is going to run any quicker on the old 1.5 patch or on the new 1.6 patch, the summer solstice update that we've got. So what I have here is I've set up a little timeline. I'm actually going to delete the game speed option that I've got set in here. I just want to use this as a location, so I'm going to pop that there. So in this location, that is going to be exactly the same on, there we go, we'll come back out of that. That's going to be exactly the same on both before and after shots. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open the menu on the side in simulation, and we're going to have a look here at the sim speed. So I'm going to up this, and underneath you're going to see the, let's go to 1, there we go, the actual speed that it's running at. So we'll go to 1 speed first of all, there we go. So the game is running at 0.7, nearly 0.78 at 1. Now don't forget, this is a huge city, 762,000 population. There's a lot of calculations and things going on, but how much of a difference is it going to make with the citizens not doing these great big long trips that they were doing before, and with the slight tweaks afterwards, particularly with their shopping? So that'll be interesting to see. So that's speed 1. Let's jump up to speed 2. There we go. So at speed 2 we're getting almost, I mean, it's 1.45 maybe as an average that it's leveling out at. Okay, 1.4, 1.45, yeah, okay. Speed 4, so we're getting 2.4 as an average maybe. It's sort of going up, it's going down below 2 now. Okay, you can hear my fans taking off as my CPU's getting my CPU's at 90%. Oh, just you wait till we get to speed 8 game. Alright, so maybe just around, just below 2, 1.8, 1.9. Oh, we've got up to 2. Yep, interesting. Let's try 8 speed. There we go. And that really, I'll say, hasn't made much of a difference. Ever so slight little difference on that. Maybe 2, just a touch over on 8 speed. And that's as high as it goes, isn't it? And back to 0. Oh, I was hoping we get 16 speed, although that wouldn't really make any difference at all. Okay, now that we've done that, let's go to post-patch and see the comparison. Okay, here we go in the 1.6 update. So let's see how this one goes. Let's go straight to speed 1. So we'll just go up to there. There we go. So before it was about 0.78. So I would definitely quicker straight away, nearly at 1. So 0.98, I would say. 0.98 on that is looking good to me. Absolutely excellent. Yeah, that's still running okay. And then level 2, we got speed 2, we got I'll say my words again. Speed 2 last time, we got 1.45. So let's see what we get this time. I mean, barely off speed 2. So 1.9. That is fantastic. 1.8, 1.9. Yeah, I'm happy to call it at 1.9. That is really good. Speed 4 before we had 1.9. Let's see what we get this time. Speed 4, we're getting 1.9 before. Now 2 points. Let's just give it a second. The quicker we do it, the more calculations it's got to do, obviously, and it makes sense, you know. So we'll just give it a little bit longer to balance out. So we're getting around about 2. So we had 1.9 before. We're getting over 2 consistently, I was about to say. Yeah, so maybe again ever so slight increase there. And then on 8 speed we had 2.0. So let's see what we get now. 2 point something. I think before it went sort of slightly 2.0 and below. Now we're at 2.2, 2.3. Anybody want to give us 2.4? Give us 2.4, 2.3, 2.3, 2.4, 2.3. No, about 2.3. So yes, a slight increase in simulation speed, which I think that's good, and obviously a better increase at the slower speeds. That, you know, I think that in my brain that does make more sense. So go back down to 1 again. So we're getting like 3/4 of a 1 speed before. Now we're getting pretty much, give or take, a 0.01 of a thing. We're almost at 1 speed. That's really good. I'm really pleased at that. The other thing I wanted to look at was the mountains. And there we go. Look at that. Much more lifelike looking mountains, ridges, shadows, depth, all the ones in the distance as well. That is looking really, really good. I like it. Is it still sort of... Yeah, you don't quite... We know already we don't quite get the definition of texture outside the area that you own, but we're still getting the new textures. So this line is probably just down to the map maker, the way they've made the map, so we won't complain about that. But yeah, absolutely. This looks just stunningly fantastic. I just want to put a load of snow on it and see what it looks like. And there we go. You're probably shielding your eyeballs from the bright white that we have on the screen. But yeah, that mountain just looks, oh, absolutely lovely. So the upgraded textures and improved blending of the textures, you will see those on any map you load, but the devs have said that specific maps like Archipelago, Haven, Twin Mountain, Great Highlands, River Delta and Mountain Village have been improved manually as well, and we will continue working on the rest of the maps as we go, and you can just see the new and the old textures just on this little quick peek at Archipelago. Haven just looks absolutely fantastic. So my final thoughts on this patch. As you may have gathered, I absolutely love the new texture changes and think the visual increase in the world map is just stunning. There are, of course, still some game textures that I'd like a little bit of work on. The road, concrete, we need dirt, we need grit in our cities, just in my opinion. But I'm very happy to let Iceflake Studios get to that when they get to it. Plus, with the performance improvements, I think we might be seeing a return to our 750,000 population city fix, so that's a bonus too. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on the new changes, and if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I release regular building videos, plus an ongoing city fix and traffic fix series, so plenty to enjoy. Thank you all for watching, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all very soon for some more Biscuit Bay.